Wait, before you record, on this video, I just want to say this. They asked like a whole bunch of great questions that I thought was like really great questions to like ask like a group of, individuals, and, just to kind of get everyone's opinion. And so I was like super intrigued by it. What the heck is this?
What was the question?
Oh, y'all want to know the questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question was, if you agree that United States is the greatest country on earth. It was the first question, and they're millennials, and they're probably like in their 20s, like late 20s, mid to late 20s, majority of them. But it was.
Do you know if they pose this question to people who have lived in other countries or traveled to other countries, or they're just biased Americans?
I think it's just Americans, but I'm not sure about their backgrounds in regards to like travel and like all the places that they've been. Specifically, all they're talking about is just like, I guess, from an American's perspective, if they believe the United States is the greatest country on earth. And, I thought I'd pose that question. I mean, they asked a whole bunch of questions on there because I thought a lot of these questions were really great to where you can kind of get different perspectives on why people think America is the greatest country. And, it kind of got me thinking and wondering, like, is America the greatest country in the world? Because, I don't know our statistics when it comes to like education. I know crime is up there.
I can
We're definitely at the bottom because Finland is definitely way up there.
So listen. So crime, I think for per capita incarcerated people, we're number one. Okay, we're leading.
Okay.
By far. Like, it's ridiculous. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same way that we lead with military spending. Like, we're dwarfing people. Like, by far. Like, we're way out there. I would say education, though, we're like towards the bottom. We're like, I think we're like, we're in the middle. We're in the middle. Like, well, of industrialized countries, we're towards the bottom. Of the world, we're like somewhere in the middle, because I think we're like end up being like number 20 something. We're like 25.
No, I think we were like number 66, or like, because when I'm an educator, I teach English, and I was trying to figure out what are the best places to go and teach English and like to raise a family. And I was surprised to find out that our country was in the bottom. A list of like 100 countries, we were like 66 last time I checked, but that's Googleable. Let me Google it.
Okay, so what I was saying was like, so I don't disagree with you on the teaching English part. I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is like a broader perspective of like where you can get a quality education. Like, they're talking about like Ivy Leagues and all that. They're including all those into it. So they were saying that we were somewhere in the 20s, almost touching 30. Like, I just don't remember what that number exactly was. So I'm gonna let you Google whatever number you come up with, but I'm just saying what I last seen.
Okay, see, now when you said places to get a better education, that wasn't the one that I looked at. When I was looking at how we ranked as far as like mathematics, reading and writing, like basic learning, we're definitely at the bottom.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna disagree. No, I'm not gonna disagree with you at all. We don't even feed the kids good. Like, when you look at lunch, when you look at lunch in other places, like the school is like trying to cut corners and make a profit. Like, I'm like, why are you trying to profit off education? That should not be a thing. Like, spend the money you need to spend.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
So I just I looked at, like, it's a meme. Like, it was like 4 different meals, and I said, yo, there's like, guess what one is America? I'm like, the one with the cheese sticks, because I had them cheese sticks. Everybody had cheese sticks. Everybody had the little cheese sticks with the little burnt cheese. And everybody know them cheese sticks. Things was fire, but the other they had like grapes and some pineapples. Then they had like this good looking sandwich, this club sandwich. Then they had like a little salad off the side, one of them, and then another one had like rice and something else, and like this meat and some other like supporting stuff, and then a nice beverage off to the side that wasn't carbonated. Like, they had a good and solid beverage
and stuff, man. That's nice. Okay, well, okay, I want to say this because, like, whenever I think of education, and I guess the statement that was said was the United States is the greatest country on earth. And so now we're kind of breaking that whole statement down into more of a divisional type question, if you will.
All right.
And I think, we're talking about education right now, especially education, I feel, is not fair throughout America. Now, what do I mean by that is, like, if you think back to like personal property tax and such, like a lot of our schools that are in the areas or whatever it may be, the tax it's funded via tax dollars from that area. Right. And when you think about like, inner city schools or majority Black schools and such like that, they don't receive the same type of funding that a lot of those majority of those suburban schools receive. And so I don't think it's fair. And I say that to say this, because I don't think it's fair that we are basically limiting our students based on their demographics and their location. And so what I mean by that is, like, if our school funding is funded via tax dollars, via property tax, and we understand that crime is a big, portion of tax dollars and personal property value and all this such or whatever. But to me, I feel, why should we limit our students to certain, let me put it like this. It's not fair that a kid in the suburban school has a better opportunity to succeed than a school not in an urban area. A school in the suburban area has a better opportunity to succeed than a student that is in a school in such, like, say, like an inner city school. So I think that's one thing that really bugs me about America. And when we talk about America being this great country, that really bugs me, because it just bugs me. I mean, I guess you can see why it bugs me, but I mean, does anyone have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I definitely do. If you want to talk about whether it's fair or not, obviously it's not fair. And the people who set up the system, they know that it's unfair. But we also, and how to correct that, I don't know how we correct that. But we do have students who perform very well in those conditions as well. So when people talk about either the miseducation or undereducation of our people, we still perform well. And those who don't perform well, there's all kinds of factors and matters that they fall into the system of not being able to perform. So okay, the fairness of it, yes, it's all unfair.
Yeah. I want to say this though too, because like when I think of like at least in my area, my main location where I kind of grew up, and I went to a more suburban area schools, but in the inner city schools, like they became unaccredited because they found that they weren't receiving the same type of level of education that a lot of these suburban schools were. So they became unaccredited. And so whenever I think of that, and one of the biggest fears when I heard about that, I was already in a suburban school, so I wasn't worried or anything for myself. But like for them, when I thought about that, I was like, well, they don't really have anything to achieve after that. If you think about it, like college isn't really like, they're not receiving the same level of education, the same level of programs that like my suburban schools had, like Title I reading and such like that. And so when you think about crime and you think about poverty, it relates back to education, is how I feel. Because if they don't have any type of road to success, then this is the road that leads right back into this cycle of poverty, And so to me, when we're talking about the United States is the greatest country on earth, well, again, here we are, we're divisionalizing into education. But as a whole, I think America is literally set up like this, not just in education, but just in so many different ways, where we're basically valuing money over people. And we talk about, we want, education to strive throughout the land, and we want people to be successful throughout the land. We talk about the American dream. But how can we expect people to achieve the American dream when our system is literally failing our students?
That's true. It's just because the system is set up so that people that look like us don't achieve the American dream. It's all a facade. It's like the whole dangling carrot scenario that they tell you about. What's up?
Hey, real quick, your hand is over your mic. I'm just gonna throw it out there to you. However you holding your phone, your hand is over your mic.
Sorry, I'm also holding my daughter too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you were sounding mad muffled. So I was just like, yo,
I'm drinking my wine too. I'm just saying. But go ahead, Byron. My bad.
No. I wanted her to continue finishing her point.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, let me get my headphones. Thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to give her a chance to like talk and like be heard. Cause
Yeah.
I ain't wanted to where I'm like going back, I'm trying to edit, and I'm like, yo, you know what? I really can't hear her. I don't think nobody
Mhm.
can.
Can you hear me a little better?
Yeah,
Oh,
we sound a lot better
you
now.
come in clear.
I'm
You
trying to
sound
like
better.
feed and hold the baby at the same time. And
Let me ask
yeah,
this
but I was
gentleman right
saying,
here. Is it Mr. Dre Enriquez?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. How you doing, man? I'm CJ.
Adrian.
Carl, whichever you prefer. Okay, so the question was asked. It's not really a question, more of a statement. The United States is the greatest country on earth. Do you believe that statement or do you not believe that statement?
Depends on what you're talking about.
Exactly. See, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about education and departmentalizing that
No,
statement.
we're barely top 50 in education.
Mhm.
But as far as financial, and I honestly believe in ability to make yourself something. Not saying that our system isn't corrupt, but compared to other countries, you have a better chance here. And it really just depends on
surviving or getting education.
both. That's for me from having played basketball overseas, from having traveled a lot and having doing this. Like there are places like that might be equally as fucked up, but like the UK, right? In the UK, there are certain grants, there are certain things that you can do, even though they have the opportunity to get the education. Here, it's easier to get in. Now, the criteria, what you might need to meet, might be harder to obtain for people that are not from here. Like in America, I think you could all agree with me. Anything is accessible with money. There are places overseas that sometimes it doesn't matter how much you have. You might not have the opportunity still. It could be based on gender. It could be based on where you're from. And if you're in the wrong spot, there's still large discriminatory, basis is over there. And it's not wrong. It's just that's how they live their life over there. There are rules. There are cultural differences. There are religious differences. That there are still places where women can't attend college. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yes, I do believe we are the easiest place to get it. Now, will it be harder for other people? Yes, 100% times harder. Just being a black man and a white man, I think it was something crazy. I don't even remember where I read this. I think getting the same education I think they weighted it at like something like 13 to 14 times harder for a young black man coming out of the inner city compared to a young white man coming out of the inner city. We're not talking about a suburb kid. We're not talking about we're talking about a white boy who goes and tries his hardest compared to a black boy from the inner city who goes and tries his hardest. It's going to be way easier for him because white people still see that white kid as a person who, oh, that's a young, humble white man, and he's working his way up in the world. And, regardless of what we like to think about these spoon-fed people, there are a lot of rich white people now that weren't spoon-fed, but they were spoon-fed by society. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's a difference between being spoon-fed, passed down, and then also being spoon-fed by society. There's two differences. But either way, if you're white, you're gonna benefit from one or the other, right? If you really put the effort in, you're gonna benefit from one or the other. As a black kid, you don't get those opportunities. And I tell people this all the time, and I honestly believe this because you're just gonna run into some fucking really terrible roadblocks. I mean, I think I'm okay. I think I do okay for myself. I'm able to, I own an apartment downtown, I own a condo. I manage myself. My kids don't want for anything. And, but I mean, if I tell people where I came from, if I tell people I came from a one-parent household, if I tell people I was homeless for 6 years, I slept in a car with my mom for 2 years, me, my brother, sister, and them, while my mom worked 2 to 3 jobs, while we bathed in gas station homes, just so we can save up for a spot to move into a shelter. And then when we got the spot in the shelter, that was a come up to us. That made us happy. And then from there, my mom worked 3 more jobs, and we did delivered papers. And there's in America, and this is just because my personal experience, you can come from nothing and be respected. I parlay and I talk with people now that I would have never imagined talking to. My son's goddad plays in the NBA. You know, like this is coming from a broke kid from Georgia. Like, you know, my son's goddad, and then like his he has two goddads. His other goddad is an electrician engineer. He built his house from the ground up. I talk to a lot of celebrity people here. My friends parlay with them. Like I kick it with them on a regular, you know, just because I'm cool, just because I provide a good energy. So the fact that I made it, I know other people can make it here in America. Because most people, as far as stature, as far as you know, prestige, whatever else you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's easier here. I know a kid that went to college in the UK. He did everything that I did, and he was 3 steps in back of me. I think America is one of those places where there's a lot more of us that came up from nothing. And I think that makes it a little more accessible to me, in my opinion,
Okay.
over the long run, because you have those rich drug dealers or those rich gangsters or whatever, and they like if they really see you hustling, like in media, like if you're a media person, you really see you hustling, then you know they'll pick you up. Like people don't like to believe people come back and do stuff like that, but they will. They be like, man, that's a young hustler, man. I want him on my team.
Yeah.
I play basketball, and that's how I got my job for the state treasury when I first moved up here, because the state treasurer used to make a team for Champaign-Urbana Day and down in Champaign, Illinois, and I used to play AAU.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this question without compartmentalizing this exact same subject. I want to say this: the United States is the greatest country on earth. Yes or no? Don't compartmentalize it. Don't. That is a blanket statement. Yes or no? And I'm asking that not to you, Mr. Dre, but to everybody. Yes or no?
I guess to give my answer on it, I would say no, but my host of factors are a little bit different. Like our
Then don't compartmentalize it though.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not trying to compartmentalize. I'm just using a metric to grade it off of. We don't even have the best quality of life, like per capita. Like we do not have the best quality of life. Like whether it's your illnesses that you're gonna get, whether it's your lack of like being like, you were right, like everyone's gonna be able to come up, but you know what I'm saying, if you work hard enough. But sometimes like certain situations, like if you make that one mistake, it roadblocks you forever here.
Forever.
You're stuck forever.
That's
like
true.
They actually allow people to be rehabilitated in other countries. Like if you go to jail here, you're probably stuck going to jail. You're just gonna be in that.
You can move though and probably make it.
Huh?
I agree with you, but you can move to another country and you could probably make it.
Oh,
you got a chance.
Oh.
Most definitely.
You got a chance still.
Yeah.
Aren't fairly distributed. If the playing field was level for everyone, then this would be one of the greatest countries on earth. But because it's biased towards race alone, that definitely makes it not. You know, not saying that other
so to answer your question,
race, but they are. No.
No, I'm gonna go with you on that one. That's a no.
That's
because
a no.
I can't compartmentalize it.
Yeah.
Now I want to say this because like I'm saying no. I don't think we're the greatest country on earth, but do I think we're the best place to live? Oh, never mind. I can't even say yeah or no neither.
Canada might be better.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
I've been looking at Mexico, maybe not Mexico.
Yeah, but I don't know where I'm going with this one because I was like, dang, I can't even say yeah to that one either. But I'm here and I'm willing to make change in my country, you know, to where I feel that we could become the greatest country in the world. And, you know, instead of living in this propaganda of, you know, this country and it being the greatest, I think that we can eventually become the greatest. But I think it takes all of us from both sides and from both party lines to, you know, accept each other for who we are.
That's true.
And be willing to change, and not just change, but listen. Because, you know, which brings up my next question. Again, now these same questions, I hope you don't mind, Byron. Miller, you cool?
Yeah, go ahead. All
right, so the next one, all right, it's another blanket statement, and just yes or no, and then explain your answer if you want to. So the other side circulates more fake news, yes or no? And I'm gonna say yes.
To the other side?
What is the
side? Like, are we all on one side now?
What side are we on?
No. You don't have to say what side you're on. I'm just saying, whatever side you are on, do you believe the other side circulates more fake news? Yes or no? And I'm gonna say yes and no, because I feel like my side, whatever side I am on, I feel like they do spew a little bit of false news, not necessarily false news, but just scare tactics to try to get you to feel a certain type of way about certain things.
I just feel the other side does more.
Exactly. I feel the other side does more too. Now, another thing that really kind of bugs me is that, I was watching this video and they were talking about fake news. Fake news isn't new, but I think that it was a pillar that President Trump used to try to balance, not unbalance the scales to, towards his side, if that makes sense, And so again, the statement, the other side circulates more fake news. I'm going to say yes. Anybody else, if you want to?
That's a yes. I just don't believe. I believe, like, I'm a fact checker. One of my jobs was specifically as a political advisor is to fact check everything. So I knew when we were lying. I knew when we were lying. Like, I was one of the people who
with the right lies.
I was one of the people who literally put together the imagery for some of the. I would never support lies, but I did curve the truth. Like, I sometimes I needed people to give us time to get to the truth, because there had to be things in place in order for you to understand where I was coming from with it.
That makes some sense right there.
Yeah.
So
politically,
see how I talk, but this is what they teach you. But no, so there are things, there were grants, there were money given out one time. I'm not gonna say exactly what, but one of the things was a school had to be renovated before it was therefore the streets and stuff around it were given the money that was given to specifically fix that school up. But you couldn't get approved by certain things because you needed roadways fixed, you needed certain things around the school to be in compliance in order for the traffic to being able to do it. There's like a lot of things that go into like upgrading neighborhoods that people don't understand, and that they have to comply by first before they can actually hit the buildings or they can hit certain things. Like night books and stuff, yeah, that's an immediate buy. You know what I'm saying? You could do those things, but to upgrade buildings and to do certain streets and certain neighborhoods, there have to be, and they set, I think it's janky because they set these things because it allows them to build the city first rather than those specific neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, the streets have to be better. So if all the city streets are great, that you can't complain about the city for anything, but then the neighborhood can focus on building the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like they put themselves first before the sectors. So I don't like that, but it had to be done. And so to give us time to get the money to the school, they had to take some of those funds that were meant for donated specifically for that school, and they used it to build the city. But I had to skew the point of how to build the city during a press conference in order to give us time to therefore generate the money that we were getting back from certain donations and programs that we had in place. That way we could help build the school. But I needed,
so you're a politician. Now,
so we had to build 2 months. I had to put them off for 2 months. But picture me telling, you all as Black folks, that your public school, somebody gave y'all $5 million. And then I tell y'all right then, yeah, we got your money. We'll make sure it hits the school in 2 months. Can't say that. People don't understand that. It's just like mass panic. People don't understand mass panic. And for me, also right now, when I left the Treasury a couple years ago, now doing like EMT work and 911 and working at NCIS and stuff like that, I understand the significance in mass panic and basic individuals. There's not a lot, like I think our group is really dope for the simple fact that I think all these Black folks in this bike group and certain things are exceptions. We actually, I told somebody this, and it's not to be cocky, we are the quota. A lot of us are in that upper class, like as far as Black folks go, we're in that college educated, we're in that deep thinking. We're in that, let's look at it from multiple views before I make my point. You know what I'm saying? It's really good to have those type of groups and people together. And this is just something that therefore rallied us to be able to get here. But when I tell you, I talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. There are people who couldn't take, the riots. Like there was mass panic around the riots, well suited, but they made it in their neighborhood where it could have been avoided. Tell somebody there's a riot going on 2 miles away. Now everybody's outside. Therefore, it ensues another riot because people start to feed off that energy of everybody being outside, going to the store. Now you have another uprising over here, another uprising. There are simple solutions to things that people can't understand. So,
I want to say this too in regards to that, and I'll let somebody else speak.
No, go ahead.
When we talk about the fake news, I think there was an article a couple months ago, and they talked about 93% of protests have been peaceful protests. And I don't know if y'all remember seeing that article. Do y'all remember that?
Yeah.
And so what the news media shows are when bad things happen, like the riots and violence happens and such like that. And so that's when you brought up protests and riots and all that stuff. But back to the statement where it says the other side circulates more fake news. I believe yes, for that very reason. And when we look back with George Floyd, I mean, again, 93% of protests have been peaceful, but we don't see anything like that. The only time you see newscasts actually showing video of actual protests is when it's violent, So go ahead. Sorry, someone else. Sorry.
No, you I couldn't have said it better.
Yes. So
all these protests.
So yeah, I'll give y'all a good example real quick. So the protest that happened in North Philly over that man being shot. I don't remember his name right now. But because it was recent. But you know what?
Who?
I thought she was finna say his name. I was hoping that she did. No, T. I'm just gonna go with T for now. So basically what happened was the North Philly, they were having protests, right? Everything was peaceful. Whoa, that almost fell. Everything was peaceful there. But what happened was the Walmart 10 miles away was being looted and destroyed and all this other stuff. So they was trying to attribute that to the protest, but it was over 10 miles away. It's not even in North Philadelphia. It's not even in Philadelphia anymore. It's a totally different city. But the news painted it as, both sides painted it as, oh, they're rioting and looting because of the protest. No. These people are not protesters. These are people who are opportunists and like to take advantage of opportunities to
exactly.
They're natural thieves. They were thieves to begin with.
Exactly. You know what?
They were thieves to begin with. They were anarchists to begin with. They were just taking advantage of the situation. And I really just hate that for Black Lives Matter, that this is what it's come down to, that every time there's something we're being attributed to it. Like I was having this conversation in the car with a coworker, and he was like, Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're planning to protest, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of whether there's whoever wins. And I'm like, the only reason they're protesting is not due to the president at all. It has nothing to do with the president at all. Never has. It's about the issues that matter to us. It's about the inequality that we are facing. It's about Black people dying in the streets without having due process. Can a nigga get due process? Like that's it. We just asking for due process. I'm not saying that Pookie don't deserve to go to jail. I'm saying that can he get to the courtroom and try to get off? Can he try?
Exactly.
Can
I mean, yeah, and even in regards
to that, play devil's advocate to y'all, some shit that we never want to hear as Black people, right?
Yeah. Oh, here he go. No, I'm playing.
I gotta hit y'all with this just because
go ahead. I love it.
I've been on the other side, right? Something you said earlier is we all got to work together to get to that point. Now, if we want the court system to work for us, you have to work with the court system. So when my man's got jumped and 30 of y'all
in order for us to work with it.
But okay, so here's my problem, okay? Because there's two problems I have with it.
Okay, I got a problem. Go ahead. Yeah.
One, my man's got jumped. 30 people seen it. Nobody said nothing. Everybody in the hood know who done jumped him, except the police, right?
Right.
Now, I also get the bad stigma of what they would do with that information. So we lack giving it to them. We're apprehensive of giving it to them. But we want all these changes, but we're not willing to change our outlook on how we want to do it. Like, everybody wants the changes, but they don't want to present solutions. We just want. You gotta, if there are systems in play, okay,
we have solutions.
We want convictions. For sure. Everybody should be convicted. Everybody should be taken in. I believe I'm a dead eye shot. There's no reason I believe half the things I seen that people couldn't have got shot in the leg, the arm, you know, a minor wound to the chest. Like, there are ways to take a person down, but we don't. How would y'all suggest that? This is a question. Okay. How do y'all suggest we want the system to trust us enough to give us what I think we're just deserved as humans, right? Mm-hmm. At this point, we're not asking for special treatment. We just want the bare minimum at this point. Don't kill us, take us to jail. Right. You feel me?
Shouldn't we be asking for special treatment right now? Like, every week, all this time in our existence here, we've been asking for the basic minimum. Like, oh, we're humans too, don't kill us. Oh, we're humans too, don't separate us. Oh, we're humans too, we should be able to love whoever we want to love. But we should be asking for special treatment because they singled us out to treat us specially, which is to prevent us from getting better. The system is already rigged. Yes, we want to work this. Like, majority of us are good people. Yeah. But how can we work with a system that doesn't work?
That doesn't work for us, right? It's meant to crush us. It's meant to crush us, 100%. But
I got a statement. Right?
I'm a very big person. Before you say that statement, I'm a very big person on what are you going to do about that, rather than, there are a lot of people who say that. How can we do that to not do that? I mean, the facts are, I'm a problem solver. This is what we have. This is what you have to work with. Mm-hmm. Regardless of us being right. Regardless of us being right. You still got to deal with it. Makes no difference.
I got something to add to that. But are we
dealing with the system?
You have to deal with the system.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna let Smooth go. I got something to say to that. Go ahead.
So the statement I wanted to make is that Black people are no longer seeking equality. We are seeking equity. Okay, because to get equality would only give you everybody the same thing. We don't want everybody to get the same thing. Right now, we need to be caught up. So we need equity. We need what
makes sense.
We've been denied, given.
You won't get it,
and some. So then
you won't get it.
Exactly. But see, now this is where that comes in. Now, to get that equity, you have to play the cards that are dealt. You have to play the game. Like, you cannot not get involved in the game. Like, I'm talking about, we need Black politicians. We're gonna need the Black judges.
Everybody has to work together.
Everybody's gonna have to get
in the Black community. We have to hold each other as equally accountable as we are making them hold them. We gotta hold each other accountable.
Yes.
We don't hold each other accountable. We don't tell our young Black men who are cheating on 16 Black women, and then they have 4 different children. If that's your little brother, most of the time, oh man, he a player. You know, that's what he do. We don't have people saying that's wrong. When somebody get jumped outside and somebody go back and hit them back, you know, they hit you first. We taught to do that. We bred to do that because that's our environment. We don't hold each other. When your friend that you knew was selling all that shit they stole on the riots, did you cop it? Or did you let it slide? Or did you tell them to take it back? I understand playing the cards you dealt, But for us to come up, I'm not even talking about the white man at this point, because we know we won't get that. We're not going to ever get that fair equality treatment. I hate to tell people that. We're not going to get there. We can get as close as we can in that realm.
Pessimistic.
And then we have to bring ourselves up. We have to invest in our own community.
True. But hold on. I want to add
We
this.
have to hold each other accountable. We don't hold each other accountable. We're not a race of holding each other accountable.
Listen. I want to add this is because I agree on some of the stuff that you're saying in regards to like holding everybody accountable, especially in this election. Tomorrow's election day, and we have to vote. Right? We need to hold our brothers and sisters accountable, whether or not you agree with what we got. Hold your brothers and sisters accountable. But when you say working with the system,
come on,
wait, hold on. Because when you say working with the system, and I can't stand when I hear people say, well, it's not going to change nothing. The president, who cares? It's not going to change out of this and out of that. And I made this statement last time on that video you and me did, Smooth, a while back, where I said, well, over 218 judges were appointed by Donald Trump. Over 218 judges appointed by Donald Trump. So if you sit up here saying that it doesn't matter, but you sit up here upset about the laws that are here and the changes that are not being done. See how I said that? The changes, that double negative almost essentially, that are not being done.
You can do it and get as high as we can using the system for what it is. We know it's already designed to break us, but that doesn't mean you can't do the bare minimum. Vote. Bring your... Hey, I'm going to vote today. Your friends tell you I got to do this.
I think that we are doing the bare minimum.
You got to do what you got to do. And then once we get those people in positions to start taking other people out of positions, then we can do a little more.
Okay.
We can do a little more.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so we got to get back to the statement.
Wait.
Voting for.
Oh, wait, go ahead, Smooth. Go ahead.
We got to get there first.
Go ahead.
We want what we want without getting there. We ain't made the journey yet.
Okay. Let T go real quick.
Go ahead, T. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, because I feel like she's trying to get something out, but she keeps getting cut off a little bit.
Yeah, she
sorry, T.
Or is that your?
I think it's cutting up, T. I think your phone's cutting up.
Your connection bad. That's what it is.
Oh yes, my. Well, shit. Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit.
Yeah, so here's what you're gonna have to do.
Oh no, let me leave.
Hey, I'm gonna do. Cut. Okay, she ended up leaving.
She said she's gonna leave and come back.
She cuts off the video. Like it'll run a lot better for her, and then she can just talk. Like that's probably what she's gonna have to do.
Okay.
Okay, so Carl, you had something you wanted to say? Go ahead, real quick.
Oh no. Okay, so I just want to go back to the original statement so we can go on to the next question, which is, I feel is a pretty good one. But anyway, the statement again, I want to repeat. The other side circulates more fake news. Can we agree? Yes.
I never gave my piece on that. Okay.
Oh yeah, Smooth. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with fake news, yes. Okay. These dudes then got the whole videos pulled for spreading disinformation. Like Twitter, Facebook, all of them is scrambling around the clock to get rid of these videos because they plain old like putting out doctored videos. Like it's not even close to true. Like I get it. Politics, you're gonna do some spin. Okay, there's gonna be some spin in media and all that. But come on, you ain't gotta doctor a whole video. Like that's flagrant. Like we're getting to
wait. I want to add this.
If we don't rein this in, we're gonna be looking like some of these other countries out here. Because this is where they were previously, and we stepped further and further out of bounds, and we have to draw the line somewhere. And I feel like Americans, we are afraid to draw the line. We are afraid to, as you were saying, hold people accountable. We're not holding, like whether it's Americans holding their politicians accountable, the Black community holding each other accountable. There's a lack of accountability all the way around. You know what I'm saying? But they are being accounted to somebody, but that's not the people. You know what I'm saying? They're being beholden to the corporations and all this other stuff. And we really have to dig deep. We're gonna have to dig deep and actually do some work. You know what I'm saying? The previous generation, they did their work. They spent their youth, they spent their energy. This is us now. It's on us now. Yep. We're it. We are it. Like I was trying to explain that to my fellas. Like I was like, yo, like we are it, bro. like we are it. If you are not doing nothing to help better this situation, you pretty much you holding us back.
Holding us
Yeah.
back.
Look, I want to add this onto that too. Is I believe social media is a big part of fake news.
Yeah.
Is you see stuff in regards to like fake or misinformation, right?
Mhm.
Information that's not true, and regardless of what that information says, so long as it is in opposition or it is not in opposition, so long as it agrees with your rhetoric, you will automatically send it and share it. And next thing you know, it becomes a viral post. And so I think we all, again, like I said earlier, we all must be accountable for everything we do. But also what you said, you said your name's Dre, right?
It's Adrian.
Andre?
Adrian.
Sorry, my bad. Adrian, like you said before, you said, damn, where was I going? We have to hold ourselves accountable. Oh, you were saying that we all need to look up this information. We can't just accept things for what they are. We need to take this information that we see and actually do full research on it, and make sure that we're actually spreading great information and not this fake news. So I think that's, I think social media, it's not just fake news, it's also fake social media.
Fake social media.
Yeah,
there's a lot that you do. I agree. And then I also think that people, to add on to what you're saying to make it more true, that's why I think there's so many reasons why we're so fucked right now. But it's like celebrity class, they have such high sway over political statements now. Like people under 30, which is probably the biggest demographic, most people need to win in order to win. You know what I'm saying? They literally go off of their favorite celebrities. Like they listen to, especially 25-year-olds or that 18 to 25. Oh, so-and-so said to go, this, that, and the other. And it's like you said, they believe whatever fake news they get. And that's why it's not funny. Kanye West, favorite artist in the world. But him alone saying he was running for president, the votes that he took from either candidate, the way you want to put it, it's not a game to be played with. What they say in what was it, in South Dakota? He got a 27% of the vote. Something stupid.
What?
For the primaries, like when they were voting who was to do it, like he almost, like, think if he did that all over, he could have knocked Joe Biden out.
Wait.
I gotta look. I'm gonna look up the exact state. They say in one of these states he got like 20 something.
South Dakota?
Actually, I think he posted on his Instagram. Let me go look.
Oh, was it? Oh, no. Was it South Carolina?
South Carolina or some shit.
I think it was South Carolina. I was like, South Dakota. Oh my God.
Yeah, South Carolina. So one of them, he got like 20 something %.
I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know the numbers.
People can fill out these things and fill in his name still. So some of these states, you even if it's 4%, that's a lot of votes, man.
That is.
That are taken away from either party. Whatever way you want to vote, that's up to you. But it's just so, the celebrity aspect of today based on social media really has skewed a lot with politics, because people don't even study the politics. They say so-and-so's voting, I'm voting for. That's all they need.
That's true.
And to add on to that, like, I'm tired of seeing, like, you don't see this in other communities where they go to the black celebrity to represent, like, oh, you're the black leader, we're gonna get you to be our spokesperson. Like, you don't go to no white rapper asking them, like, they don't go to Eminem and Post Malone talking about so how do you feel about the election? Exactly. How do you feel about what do your people need? Like, these folks don't know no more. They really don't know. They don't know. They don't know no more.
You got people like 50 Cent and Lil Wayne taking pictures with Trump this past week.
There's
like,
like,
it's all a game though. But
it's just a game.
Regardless of what people say, he's ignorant, but he's smart when it comes to numbers.
He is.
Like, and I don't think he was a good president by any means, but when it comes to economy, it wasn't terrible.
Wait, no, I'm gonna stop you right there, player.
It wasn't good.
Look, I'm not okay. It wasn't terrible, but you have to also remember that we were already on a downward, or
We're
excuse
on a
me,
downward slide already.
yeah, on unemployment. We were already on a
But
downward slide.
he wasn't a good president. I can still stand for that for whatever.
Yeah,
He wasn't even
also,
at 50. He was like a 40%, maybe even 35 out of 100.
yeah,
You know, like it was just enough to get us by the 4 years before we crash. So we need somebody else to kind of get us back on the upward slide. He might not make it out of the 60. You know what I'm saying? By the time his 4 years are done, because it's a process. You know what I'm saying? It's a process.
Yeah.
But you can put us on the upward slide. But it just comes down to the fact that on the number, on the social media, on the thing, Trump knows the game of the public policies, how to PR his own work, how to appeal to Black folks that would never get your side. That picture of Lil Wayne got him some votes.
Yeah.
Kanye West working with him got him some votes. 50 Cent saying he was okay got him some votes.
Yeah.
It's because, like I said earlier, the mass majority of people, they don't research stuff. It's not, they're not college educated.
Yeah.
Like everybody, it's so normal for us to talk about college, like everybody wants college, but we forget that we hang around so many people that do it. It's normal to us. But if you're on the vast majority of the world, I think it's still like what, 80% of people don't go to college from rip. Out of those 20% that do go, I believe it's something like 13 to 14% actually graduate, whether it be community college or whatever like that. Most people, I think it's like 9% actually get their BA. So you're still a part of a very top tier associate just for having the paper. Not saying you're even making more than some of these people that without the degree. You know what I'm saying? It's just we don't understand that. We notice you go to college to notice the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I always tell people it does not mean you'll make money. It does not mean you're not gonna struggle. It does not mean anything. It means you're taught to think differently over a bigger picture. That's all college is really made for. You can get it's people with, how many people that you know with a degree that's not in their field? They're not working in their field.
Oh, but, I know a crap ton. Yep. You know what I'm
saying? You know, I'm not working in it right now. I mean, yeah, I still do dabble, but it's just it's there to show that you can complete something.
Yeah,
I want to do that. That's all.
Yeah, I want to add this onto that the fake news thing, because you were talking about the economy has always, it's been constantly on a downward slide. I mean, statistically speaking, and economics does prove this as a fact. And I just went on to Senate.gov. The economy has always done better under Democratic rule since the past 20 years, or excuse me, since the past 50 years. That is a fact. It has always done better under Democratic rule. So like whenever I hear people say such like, well, the economy is great and yada, this is the best. Well, no, hold on, player. Like, I mean, if you think about Obama, especially when he became president, what was it? Over 10% was unemployment when he took office, over 10%. And when he left, it was like 4.1%. And then at the beginning of Trump president, before COVID struck or whatever, it was like 3.5%. So, I mean, if we're looking at these numbers, and now it's like back in May, it was 13.1%. Now I'm not sure what it is. Yeah. But I mean, if you think about it in regards to the Democratic policies and whatever they have, they're doing something right.
So I'm gonna let you go real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna say to that piece real quick. So what happens is people mix there's micro and micro economic. There's macro and microeconomics. Okay. So here's what happens. Here's what happens. Like on the macro level, you look at it and you go, all these businesses and corporations, they're doing great. But what you don't see is the small micro effects that end up tearing down that macro economy. Okay. So you're looking at the stock market right now. What you see is a lot of companies that end up hemorrhaging and they start filing bankruptcy. Like I was watching Fox Business. On Fox Business, they said at least today 4 different companies that end up filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. You know what I'm saying? And why is that? Because when you have the number of people unemployed that you do, you have the number of people that are underemployed, the number of people that have lost work and lost money, you then lose your customer base, which affects your macro economy. And thus all these companies are now fighting over the little bit of dollars that are out here. And then what happens again is when that other company goes under, those employees are now lost. And what happens when those employees are lost? More people have lost more customers. It's this big ass snowball. And if you don't catch it, you're gonna lose. All these people, it's just gonna continue to grow. Like literally, it's just gonna continue to grow.
And that's generally purpose what it is. I mean, there's really no other way of explaining it. And so once again, to combine what you and him are saying is social media and then microeconomics. When you have the 1% or the 0.5%, I believe it is, of rich people telling these kids online that it's the best economy in the world, it's because they're doing good. Like you said, over the vast majority, they do great under Democrats. Under Republicans, that 0.5% is thriving. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to lack of research, that they could have did something just as simple as you just did, a Google search. They could have found out all this information, right? They're going to take their celebrity saying, Lil Wayne and 50 Cent and all these other people, man, they said it was good though. And they about to go vote for Trump because they don't do their own research and they're ignorant to whatever it is. They're just going to follow whatever the popularity says. It's like you said, social media has a huge sway and effect. And so with those microeconomics that he's talking about, just because they're major corporations, sometimes people don't understand that the individual wants are sometimes some of those microeconomic things, and their own personal pockets are getting lined, taking away, breaking those larger corporations, even though they're getting rich on the side. It all affects it, but that's not what social media is seeing. They're seeing all these black people saying, "Oh, life is great." Okay, for who?
Yeah, for who? Yeah, for real.
I'm broke, nigga.
Yeah. all right. Because like, I don't want to hold it too long. Okay.
Before you segue, real quick.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, no problem.
And I really don't think these entertainers understand macro and microeconomics, because if they did, they would understand that your customer base does not need you. You provide you provide something that is enjoyable, but it's not a necessity. If your customer base has to choose between having a streaming platform to stream your album versus having food on the table, they're gonna pick that food every time, because that hunger, there's not enough music you can play to make you not hungry.
Exactly. Man, that's a fact.
That's it.
All right. Here's the next one. Okay. So again, sticking around with statements here, and then you can go in depth on like how you feel about this. But I am worried about a civil war in this country. And I would say my answer is yes, but not in a like what we know as a civil war. I think it's more of like when you think of like now one of our biggest fears is virtual warfare and such, you know. I think that's probably more what we're looking at is a civil war in a new 21st century type of way. Where we see a lot of, and I guess maybe in more sort of a physical sense as well, where we see a lot of people kind of not necessarily fighting in the streets, but, you know, disagreeing and not coming to, like I was saying before, we're not listening to each other. We're not coming together and actually accomplishing anything. Now I think the Civil War is more tearing this country apart because we're so set in stone on whatever our ways may be that it turns into this sort of virtual war. Does that make sense?
I agree.
You make it sense.
Yeah, so anybody else want to elaborate on that one? But I just want to reiterate that statement. I am worried about a civil war in this country. Yes or no, and then explain.
You want to go first?
Okay, I can go first. I can pop that off.
Okay.
So am I worried about a civil war in this country? No, I don't think it's going to end up being like a huge, large-scale civil war. I just don't think that's possible. There's not although Americans per capita have enough guns and all that, I don't think enough people, because of the way the system is set up, you have to go to work, bruh. You got to make money, bruh. Like, you're not prepared to survive on your own. You know what I'm saying? Survive by your own means. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people understand what it really takes to have war with somebody else.
Money.
They don't understand that the whole complexities of that. Like there's a lot that goes into that. And then you got to provide for your, like for a lot of people, it's a lot better to just go with the status quo than to be out here fighting in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Now, are you gonna have those onesie twosies, like wild, like militia going up against another like sect of people? Probably we might get there. We might get there. You might see that. But I just don't think we're going to see mass scale civil war, because I don't think the average Americans actually hate each other enough. I think we're at a place where the media has put in front of us so many extremes that we're forgetting most people are in the middle, just like you and me. Like they're not really like, they're just trying to like make the best situation for themselves and their family at the end of the day. That's what most Americans want. The best situation for them and their family.
I feel the same way, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think what's getting lost is a lot of people are like, oh, well, all these people is racist. I'm like, no, it's really like those people are racist, but it's not a mass like huge problem. Like, yeah, there's people, they're not for us, and they're not gonna like do things to stop racism because it benefits them. But are they gonna let you get hung outside? I don't think we're at that level. You know what I'm saying? Of lack of humanity. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we're at that level where they're like, yo, I'm not gonna call the police. I'm not gonna call somebody. They might not go out and actually save you, but they're gonna at least call somebody to come save you. Hey, there's a group outside. They're finna get to hanging these black people. I don't think they're supposed to be doing this. I think somebody's gonna make that call.
I think we're kind of headed towards, okay, you said people will make that call. I'd say maybe if it was 4 years ago, yeah, maybe. But I think we're kind of more headed towards where, what do you believe first? Tell me what is your agreement on? Do you like Trump or do you like Biden? What is your agreement first? And I think that's kind of more so where we're headed. I mean, I've seen this in multiple aspects within my own personal life, whereas people don't like me anymore just because of my own personal views. Whatever my personal views may be, that doesn't change who I am necessarily. You know, I've always been myself. I'll always be myself. And I think more people are using this politics essentially to try to judge whether or not they want to be friends, whether they want to help somebody, whether they want to, you know, that's what I think. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Adrian, your turn. My bad.
No, I agree. I kind of just agree with both of y'all, honestly. I don't think, and some people call it heart, some people call it balls. I think there are very few people in here that have the balls to take it to that extent, honestly. And it would take some real community leadership for something like that to pop off. And it's the people that it would need to come from to take it to that extent are the people that are only out for themselves. So that's why I don't believe it would happen. The gang leaders, and not all gang, like from being from the hood, I know personally, not all gang leaders are bad people, G. So some of them will cease and desist all the bullshit in their neighborhood if it's hitting a point. Like they will put an end to it no matter, by any means necessary. So it's just the point more so of the people who are already about that action, like you use Chicago as an instance, the people who are shooting up these blocks, raising this murder rate, the young kids that don't give a fuck, it would take those people to be able to organize, and all would have to come together. And I'm not just talking about Chicago, I'm talking about in all places, we would have to have one uniform message to what they were fighting for. And to really, you know what, we about to go have action against the police force, or we're going to go have action against not even the police force, the government. You know what I'm saying? We're past the police force at this point for something like that to happen. I think it would be more so of what you're saying, of like a virtual type of warfare. I don't think there's any, because no matter how much they hate each other, when Republicans and Democrats, if they're faced with something like that, they're going to come together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is not the old times to where they would just disagree until somebody moved back down south. You know what I'm saying? They would come together and be like, look, hey, we fucked up. They try to put some fake news out there. You know what I'm saying? They do whatever they can to eliminate it and due process. They'll give us the NBA back. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
They'll
I can't say I agree with that, because if you look at and I'm not trying to bring in the stimulus part 2, CARES Act 2 into this, but I mean, if you look at, everyone's holding tight on their sides right now. And right now, the only people who are really suffering is the American people.
Yeah, but they ain't got hit with no pressure.
Say it again?
They haven't got hit with any pressure.
True.
You know why they gave us the stimulus one? You know why they honestly gave us the stimulus one in the timely manner that they did? It was because of George Floyd.
I can agree with that.
I'm gonna tell you that because one of my mentors is in Congress. Mm-hmm. I've heard him talk about it. I used to call him every day when it was going on. He was just like, they're gonna give it. They're gonna give it to him. They're gonna give it to him. He told me, he was like, within the next week. I was like, no, they're talking like months. He said, watch this, Adrian. Next week we got our stimulus. Mm-hmm. It was because of George. There's nothing like that going on right now to where the American people are putting that pressure on the government when mm-hmm. they're in. It doesn't even have to be a George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? It has to be us as the American people constantly, and to get your government to make actions. The one thing I can agree with, and this is what I think Black Lives Matter does very well, but they only do it. It's easier for Black Lives Matter to do it when they have a push, an incident that they can anchor off of to push what really needs. Now, do I think that they push the right message? 100%. I think they push all the right things. Mm-hmm. I don't believe somebody can tell me one instance where they were effective though.
Okay.
Without the death of a Black person.
All right. So before I forget this, I want to go back on what you just said though, because you said it took a push and has Congress been pushed. But I want you to remember back when George Floyd was going on, there was protesting in the streets. Mm-hmm. There were also a bunch of white people. And I'm not saying white people just as a whole. I'm just saying white people.
That's my point. That's my point.
Were literally, but I want to say this though, because you were saying like, you don't think it'll ever get to the point where we will come together. Well, no, we didn't come together. Yes, it may have taken a push, but if civil unrest wasn't in Congress, it was in the streets. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? So you're saying that
I'm talking about the people, not Congress, not Congress and the people. It takes something like that it takes a tragedy for Americans to unite, which is one of the reasons why I don't think we are one of the greatest countries. Like I see, not to bring up a more negative situation, SARS, right? Mm-hmm. They all are coming together in their country to protest this as countrymen. It's not because you're this political party or this is wrong. We're going to apply pressure. And they are being butchered, you know what I'm saying, essentially, and it's wrong. For Americans, we are greedy. Not me necessarily or you, most Americans are greedy. Like they have to have a reason to push. Mm-hmm. We have to have a reason. If we, as a community, like you said, the white people that were out there, the Black people that were out there, if we all consistently applied pressure to this government like we do when a tragedy strikes, we would see more, I wouldn't say all the time, but we would see more consistent changes for what we want. Because we apply these pressures, we get these results. We see that after a month of protests, motherfuckers were scrambling to give us something. Mm-hmm. But then they give us the NBA back, and then people start forgetting. And then they give us the NFL back, and then people stop forgetting. Okay, they gave it to you. You know what? We're gonna push. If we really want something, we're gonna squeeze it. We need to pressure our government. That's the one part that has changed over time historically. Is even when it was back to racist old America getting away, breaking out to its own country, all the way to the Civil War. When Americans want something, the only time major change has ever happened is when there's a major event that pressures them to happen. Mm-hmm. Abe Lincoln. I gotta sign this because I know we going to war with our white brothers, but I gotta sign this so they can't use the black people as soldiers. You know what I'm saying? He didn't sign it because he wanted to. He signed it because it was a good war move. Like it was a good war move. You know what I'm saying?
Economics. There we go. Economics again.
Cause unrest within their ranks and the black people fighting back that really want to fight to try to stay alive. And then it gives us a chance to make advances. It's just like we have to have a major thing happen. That's all it is. Like there is no gradual change in America. Everything is passionate and rapid. It's always been that way since we were created.
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about, there has to be an event. And the problem is we get these results with the events, but nobody puts together the fact that we don't consistently put pressure on our system as like these events.
Yeah.
And it could be peaceful. We just got to keep going though.
Do you know the greatest time I seen like the politicians and like the upper class shook was that Occupy Wall Street mess. Like at its height, they was so shook. Like you could get anything you want. They were like
anything you wanted.
They were like, oh, they coming after our money. Yo, we gotta give them something.
Let's figure it out.
They were shook.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, but then they realized that okay, they gave us a couple things. They pacified enough people that were ready to like that kind of like they end up moving away. And then they knew that the rest of the people, we can wait them out. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got it. They've lost momentum. We can wait them out. And I think that's what happened with black people a lot. We apply pressure, and then we only do it for so long, and then we start to fade out. And they know they can wait us out. They've gotten used to us. They've gotten used to our procedures and our protocols, and we're gonna have to start doing things differently to get different results. Now, I can hear that person saying like, yo, then yeah, we need to take it to them. We need to fight the government and all this other stuff. I'm like, you are not ready for that, my brother.
You're not ready. It's not that it's wrong. It's that you're not ready.
You do not know what that really means.
Yeah.
I'm saying like, I'm gonna need you like, oh, I read the what is it, the 48 Laws of Power or whatever. I've read that. I feel like I'm no, bro. You're gonna have to study war and study tactics. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to become a historian. Like if you have not dug into like the actual specifics of what that entails,
finances.
You don't want it.
The finances, the rationing, the money distribution.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not just when you saving money, it's not just saving it for yourself, it's saving it for this part of your community. This part of your community is going to need it. We're going to need to distribute this to here. These people going to need it. Like, it's a lot that goes into that. And that's why I tell people all the time, until you're ready, you have to work. It's not that there's not a better way. Police reform, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. I still want to do things with the police. But me personally, do I see the benefits to police reform? Hell yeah, I see the benefits to police reform. You know what I'm saying? Like, but once again, I'm a person who I can see it from both ways. I also see that taking personal, holding each other accountable when we make that major change, police reform would make more sense. You know what I'm saying? Because if I walk up on the street, I'm a rather big guy, I'm with a gun, I shoot 3 people and we don't got police, who gonna stop me? Who gonna jump in? Who gonna hold me accountable without police? We're not ready to have it yet until, I'm not saying that we couldn't do it. I honestly believe people could do it. But you have to be ready to do it. You know what I'm saying? There has to be 2 men like yourself that walk up and like, no, we can't just let Adrian be walking around here. You know, boom, we need to hold this man accountable. We need to find a way to make him pay for what he did within the community. But it also works the better way. Police are, that boy who stole $10 from the street goes to jail. He shouldn't be in jail for one night. It's $10. But it's something that the community would have to do to hold that boy accountable. Make him go work for an hour in the store, show how hard it is. You know what I'm saying? We can police ourselves. We legit can. Gangs do it all the time. When they protect certain places, when they do certain things to, for certain families, certain neighborhoods, hey, if this gang controls this block, you're in charge of this block. You're in charge of bringing people to judgment, fair judgment for this block. But also involve those community leaders that are legit. You know what I'm saying? There are ways we can honestly do it. It's just, like you said, the art of war and change, people are not ready to take on those responsibilities. We want and we want and we want. And this is for anybody. I'm not just talking about Black people. I'm talking about white people. They want and they want and they want. But they're not ready to take on. Nobody in America is really ready to take on those responsibilities that you would need to do, because we don't want responsibility. We just want.
We just want, yeah.
But once we do, we could do it.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good question. That was real good. I like that one. I learned a lot on that one. And it's good to see different perspectives and, like, you know, even though I feel as though we all kind of have a general idea on not necessarily just the environment and the political environment and the social environment and social everything that's going on, but I think it's great to have these discussions. That way we can really open up our eyes to not just our side, but other sides as well. And just to see exactly, you know, anyway. Yeah, I enjoyed this topic a lot. I
would strongly recommend, just for basics, for people that are watching, that are going to watch this, for basics. If you cannot pick up the game of chess and play it, you don't even understand the start of going to war. The start of sacrificing different things to get ahead. Like that sounds like it, but you're not ready to have someone die just so you can have your end goal. If you're not ready to be that leader and know that that person is going to die, but it's going to net you that good result that you want in the end, you're not ready, bro. If you're not ready to die, you're not ready, bro.
Yeah, hey, that's some facts right there. All right, here's the next one. There's one more. Wait. Oh yeah, so it's this one and another one. Okay. I can understand why someone would vote for the other side. You yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can understand, but it's just like, yo, like, you being so.
Look. Yeah.
Like,
look.
I can't.
Honestly,
for me.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When I watch them vote for the other side, I'm like, what box? Like, how narrow is your vision? Like, you have to ignore a lot of stuff to get there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about your regular Republican. No, I have nothing against the regular Republican. Nothing against the regular Republican. There's some Republican policies that are actually decent. They are when executed. There are some decent Republican policies.
It's not Republicans.
There's some Democratic policies. I'm like, yo, that's too far. We're doing too much. Like, we're doing too much. Like, I can admit that. But when you go with when we're looking at the narrow-mindedness of most Trump supporters, like the hole that you're looking at, it becomes so small. Like, I don't even think you can see my eye in here. I don't even think you can see it. Like, it becomes they don't realize how lost in the sauce they are.
Yeah. Well, look, let me say this too, because you're 100% right. I ain't got a problem with Republicans. I don't have a problem. Had it been, say, Mitt Romney, or, you know, if John McCain was still here, John McCain or somebody like that, I don't think there would be any type of
Obama. He would have got my vote. I'm not even, no cap.
Yeah, look, and if it had been anybody else that had the type of, again, we have to remember, we keep talking about political correctness, right? Political correctness, and we want Donald Trump to present himself with political correctness. But you have to remember, Donald Trump isn't a politician. He's not. He's a fake businessman. I'm going to say fake businessman because now we know what his taxes look like. Yep. But anyway, yeah, he's a fake businessman, and he's a reality TV show star. That's it. Yeah. So when we expect him to act politically correct, I mean, we can't expect that. He's a reality TV star. However, he is the president of the United States. And I do expect him to act professional, and I do expect him to act presidential. Because he's the president. So politically correct, not necessarily, if that makes any sense, but presidential and professional, not just professional, but act respectful. the fact that you can sit up here on stage and literally mock someone with a disability, I have a problem with that.
I have a horrible problem with that.
Yeah, that's it's not a political correctness. That's just respect. And the fact that you could do that to another American and you claim you're all about America and the American people, to me, that just seems very disrespectful. But again, I can understand why people vote for Trump, mainly because I don't think it was necessarily, you have to remember, President Obama is the first Black president we had, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have somebody who's coming in hardcore talking about, I'm going to abolish everything that this man ever did, right? You have to remember, there's a whole people that literally hated Obama, not just for what he did, not for what he did, but because of who he is and the color of his skin. That's it, right? And you have a man that's coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to abolish everything that he did, yada this and yada that. Of course, you're going to get people that's going to flock to him and follow him like none other, just for that very reason right there. And because of that, no matter what he does, because he is agreeing with wholeheartedly that he wants to get rid of these Obama policies, whether they're right or wrong, they're going to sit up there and agree with him no matter what. Yeah. One thing that I enjoy whenever I read over my Facebook notifications, especially when Biden chose Kamala Harris, and I don't want to really talk about that because, like, you know, I have my own personal opinions. We all have our own personal opinions about him choosing Kamala Harris and all this stuff, whatever. But in regards to that, it was great to see people on Facebook voicing their opinions and oppositions to Biden choosing Kamala Harris. It was great to see that. I enjoyed watching or reading some of their stuff. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that is because even though some people may be, or majority, I'd say this, majority of the Democrats, they may be voting for Biden, but they are very critical of him. And they may say, hey, you said this. When he said that whole situation about if you're Black, you should vote for me, essentially. And if you're not Black, if you don't vote for me, essentially, right? Yeah. We were very critical of all that stupid stuff that he said. But the fact that Trump voters, they sit up here and he says the dumbest shit. Yeah, I said it, the dumbest shit. The dumbest stuff. And they literally say, yeah. Oh, well, that's fake news. Well, he said it on live TV. Oh, well, that's fake news. That's fake news about the whole white supremacy thing and stuff like this. Oh, well, that's fake news. Well, he meant to say this, but no, the media is trying to, no, it was live. What are you talking about? And so whenever I see stuff like that, I don't understand why people vote for Trump. But then I have to realize that this is America. America is built on the backs of slavery. America is built on the backs of racism. So again, yeah, I can see why people vote for him because the rhetoric that he spews is racism. And whether or not a lot of Trump supporters say, well, he's not racist. Well, racists think that he's racist. And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's it. Go ahead, somebody else. It's the same thing that I've been saying, telling people, you know what? He might not be racist, but the racist people go with what he say because they agree that what he represents might be racist. Exactly. So it's how you it goes all the way back to what you said. I have a problem with you carrying yourself in an unpresidential way that can be taken into you are, instead of being the president, you are aligning with these other people, these other third party political or organizations in America. The president don't align himself with any of that. He might say, hey, you know, I appreciate you guys sending the message, or if it's a racist or something like that, you have to, as the president, with any, if it has any malice within it, you have to be like, you know, hey, don't do that. Like just don't do that. The MAGA hats have became a symbol for racism. Your hats have become a symbolism for, it's the new KKK hood. So you can't say, so regardless of if you agree that you're racist or not, the facts that you have entire racist Nazi people, literally with Nazi tattoos, was a video I seen in Indianapolis. They tried to interrupt a Black Lives Matter protest, and they got their ass beat. Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of black people. This was in Indianapolis, dude. It's on the internet. You can look that up. I was just like, you thought Indianapolis. I get that's where y'all from. This ain't the same. Chicago people have traveled out there to go to this protest. You know what I'm saying? There are people out there that will whoop your ass now. Like, and it's just, they all had on your hat. So when you see that as a president, what a president would have did, in my opinion, because when people started using things that George Bush did like that, he even had to step in and be like, don't use, he had to at least say, don't use it for these purposes, because regardless, in public, you have to show that, hey, I don't agree with their actions, regardless of what they're using it for. Mm-hmm. He doesn't do that. You get into arguments with people. The president does not get into arguments with people on Twitter. Mm-hmm. They talk about their views. They talk about what they're going to do for the community, and they ignore people. You know how many people came at Obama? I mean, shit, I'll use George Bush. You know how many people came at George Bush? The man did not resort to Twitter once. Now, was he the best person for some situations? No. But did he care? People might not agree with me. Did George Bush carry himself in a presidential manner? Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, he did. He came to 9/11. He handled it his way he wanted to handle it, whether people wanted war or not. He became a president, and he made a decision that he thought would best, that he actually thought would best benefit America. Was it the right or wrong decision? It's not my point to judge. It between him and God, that knows what he was supposed to do, or certain situations. We all know what we joined the war for. If you really follow things, we didn't join to help. We joined to protect the oil prices in certain economies that were over here, because the things we had to protect over the people we were aligned with, because the trade deals we were getting, if it was took over by someone else, we would not be getting these same deals. We would not be getting these same trade lines, these same pipelines. Yeah. But he did what he did because those economic things protected the American people from certain hardships that they would have faced. Yeah. Did we lose lives in the meantime? Yes, but he still carried himself presidential. The one thing he handled wrong, honestly, was Hurricane Katrina.
You know what?
That's the one thing I could say George Bush did terrible.
Look, hold on. So after doing some real research on that, and I watched a couple documentaries, I'm gonna shoot him some bail on that. I'm gonna shoot him just a little bit of bail. I'm not saying that he wasn't wrong. I'm not saying that he wasn't wrong. I'm saying that also the governor did not give a fuck about those people. You know what I'm saying? It was a systematic breakdown. It was a systematic where people were they looked out there and they seen who was out there and they said, oh, them ain't my people. Them ain't my people.
You're correct. You're absolutely correct. But with George Bush's power, executive orders that we have now witnessed in the pandemic can be issued to overwrite those governors and those certain politicians from the presidential office. We did it with COVID. Why can't we do it with Katrina?
Right. That's fact.
Oh, we don't want to send in help. He could have sent in help whenever the fuck he wanted to send in help. I'm going to let them govern them because there was a vote coming up that he needed the governor of Georgia to be in on, because there were certain trades and certain businesses popping up on a major scale that he needed to shift some economy things. I don't want to get into the full what happened, but the point was, it was a tit for tat. Okay, I'm gonna let you have your free reign, but just, go ahead and look out for me later. He should have overrid everybody. I don't give a fuck if it was white people down there dying, but it was black people once again. You know what I'm saying?
Always us, yeah.
It's Americans. He should have overrid, issued an executive order, sent in the National Guard to help these people. There was no exceptions to what you did. There was no exceptions to people being on their roof for a week with people bringing them food in boats.
And that's crazy.
No excuse.
Food in the boat, but you couldn't.
There were people going boat to boat, from roof to roof, giving them food for even if it was, I think the soonest they got help was 3 days. 3 days on your roof.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. I don't care who was up there personally. It's an American to me at that point.
You're right.
You talking about life and death, and you left them. There's so many people that died in the first place. Then you you risking their lives because you're trying to parlay. I get politics, but some things go beyond politics,
Right.
which is why this is another thing with the executive order with Donald Trump. We knew about COVID in Chicago since last November. This is from me being an EMT. People had COVID in November. On a major scale, that wave that came through that people thought was the flu, it was not the flu.
Yeah.
But we were not able to name it based on an executive thing signed, so where we are not able to, oh, it's a new strand of the flu, it's new, whatever, without research, because it can create mass panic.
Right.
They knew what it was. He could have been on the quiet and issued that order, the same shit we're doing now this year, back in November, and it could have, the curve they're telling us that we could have took to slow down COVID would have been a lot easier. We're talking on a major scale. I think it's something like 80-something% easier to curve it because there's so many more people that would not have ever had it.
Right.
But he didn't take that order. And it was,
matter of fact, he was the main one. Go ahead.
Then they didn't, and then they when he got in office, he immediately broke down the COVID procedures and plans that Obama laid in play
for a pandemic.
So you have to take that L. You know what I'm saying? There's no excuse. When you're president, I know there are orders and there are branches. The one thing I can honestly say, and this is as a political science major, when you're president, if you want something like that done, you could do whatever the fuck you want to. Now, will it get stopped a week later or 2 weeks later when they vote on it? Yes, but in that initial instance, you could do whatever you want to. Make it happen.
Yep.
Even if it's just for a week, you can make it happen. And there's no stopping the president when he makes a decision for an executive order. When a paper comes across your desk, you could executive order it.
Hey, remember, hey, he did that with, you remember he banned Muslims in like his first days. Again, it was literally banned by the Supreme Court, but like for the first week, 2 weeks, whatever it was
him.
Hey, Muslims weren't coming into this country. They weren't allowed in this country.
Before the vote took place.
Exactly.
No, not happening.
Nope. And it blocked. They weren't even allowed to come into this country. So
for 2 weeks before people start being allowed.
Yeah, that's another thing though, is like I hope people are not just looking at this past year. I mean, this past year has been a very tragic year.
Yeah.
Alone
every month.
This president. You know what I mean? It's been very tragic. But even past that, the past 4 years, if you look again back to the Muslim ban, when you look at not necessarily just gun control as a whole, but more so when you think about the killings of innocent students and kids. And
man,
there's
that happened. Yeah.
Huh?
I almost forgot about that, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're only looking at 2020. And 2020 alone is bad. Bad enough. But when you look at the past 4 years and how much nothing has gotten done on the issues in which we really care about, like you can give me an inch, right? Give me an inch. What the fuck am I gonna do with an inch?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's just how I feel in regards to it. But,
I agree with that.
What the fuck I'm gonna do with an inch? Okay, so what? You gave me what the fuck? I don't even got an example because I'm still stuck on 2020. This year was shit. I'm cursing too much. Let me calm down.
I think no. I uploaded whatever. I'm not big enough to get paid anyway. So the thing is, like, with what you're saying, like, it's so sad that the only reason we had a down curve in school shootings is because there was no school because of COVID. That's literally the only thing that kept people from dying was that the fact that we didn't have it. We had a pandemic that killed more people.
Yeah. You know what?
From getting shot. Like
Trump's he's going to use that as an advantage to him. He's going to say, well, school shootings have gone down since I become president. Well, no dip, you dumbass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just, this whole presidency is such a joke. And when I think about talking to some of my English friends and their perception of America right now, and they literally say, this is word for word what they say. They say, oh, I may be having a bad day, but at least I'm not America.
That's what they say. Oh my God, that's literally what they say overseas.
That's literally what they say. And like my friend James, and I'm like, bro, that's kind of sad. It kind of hurt. It kind of hurts your feelings a little bit to think that, wow, this propaganda of America being the greatest country in the world, but that's not how everyone else sees it. You know, we're trained to believe America is this great country, which I'm not saying it's not a bad country. What I'm saying is that other people don't see us that way. And until we come to the realization that America isn't the only country in this world that has diplomacy and democracy, then I think we're going to continue to have this blindness and basically this shield of blanket like party sides, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And until we open up our eyes and realize that it's more people in this world than just us, we have to consider that fact when we vote, when we, stuff like that. So, sorry, I got off on a tangent there.
No. But
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You're right though. I can't.
I just get mad. When they, it's almost an insult to me when they say stuff like that. I don't get mad like that, but it's almost an insult. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, you're not lying. You're not lying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sad part about it. So, but anyway, this is the last question or the last statement. I am open to the other party's ideas.
I can say like, so I just said that earlier. Like there's some good Republican ideas. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's not tweaked super hard to the right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, trickle down economics. No, that does not work. Okay. You can't give somebody who's hoarding more stuff and expect them not to hoard. They're going to do what they've continued to do, and that's hoard. They're going to continue to hold on to what they have. If they have a big stack of money, they're just going to throw more money into that stack and just keep it pushing. Like, they're not going to share it with no one. You cannot make Americans, you literally, no, you have to make Americans share. Just because the way our capitalist society has raised our mindset and our psyche. Most people are not willing to share. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? They see different organizations like, the nonprofits and all that, and you expect them to like do this miracle work that's just not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Those nonprofits are just tax havens, really. That's really what they are for most people. Like some of them, yes, they do good work. They really do. But some of them are just tax havens. That's it. You know what I'm saying? For the little bit of good that they do, when you look at the majority of their funding, they're not doing with the money that you think they should do. You know what I'm saying? They're not. I mean, you can take whatever nonprofit you want to and really get to chopping it down. 9 out of 10 are not doing what they're supposed to be doing with that money. You know what I'm saying? Even you can look at your church that you're in, the amount of outreach that it should be doing, the amount of helping that it should be doing. If you have a big mega church that you are in, you should not have people hungry going to that church. There should not be hungry people at that church. Should not. You have the biggest building, y'all bringing in multi-millions upon millions, and you're telling me there's folks hungry in your church. Now, that's in your church. Now, let's not even get to the community outside that you're built in. There's people hungry outside. You can't feed nobody. Like, oh, you have to set up an event to feed people. Why can't you just continuously feed people? You have that kind of money. They really do. And they have it set up to where they can write that off and they can get that back to them. Honestly, the system's set up to give it back to them. But they don't. I'm really questioning, like, which is why I kind of had to take a step back from like church organizations as a whole, I'm questioning, what are we doing? What are we really doing? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have any issues with God or anything like that. My issue is the church organization as a whole, especially Black churches. What are we doing? What are we
I want to add
holding each
something
other
to that.
accountable.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to add something to that. Well, in regards to like Christianity, and one thing that always puzzles me whenever I think about the Republican Party and conservatives, if you will, is they always talk about Christian values this and Christian values that. And a lot of the things that they spew and a lot of the things that, especially when you think about Donald Trump, the one who's representing the Republican Party currently, and you say that your values are based on Christian morality or whatever. And to me, I just can't see that. And whenever we talk about bringing people to Christ, and I'm a Christian, and bringing people to Christ, and I feel as though Republicans are a very big reason why people are okay with going to hell. And what do I mean by that? It's just more so that they see Christianity, and again, Christian is my faith. They see Christianity as a way where if you're a Christian, then you believe the Republican side. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel some people believe.
That's how some people vote.
You said what?
That's how some people vote.
That's how some people vote. And it's so disheartening for me, at least, because like, again, these are my beliefs, and I've always grown up with Christian values, this and that. But I'm also believe more on I'm gonna say I'm more progressive. I'm not necessarily liberal, I'm more progressive. So, but with that being said, again, I don't know where I was going with that. God, that wine is hitting. So, but what was I saying? I don't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, so I think I feel where you're going. Like there's a mismatch between what they're saying they should represent.
Oh, that's what I was going.
Versus what they actually should represent. You know what I'm saying? And which makes me question, like, have you read your Bible? You know what I'm saying? I personally, I've read through it 4 times, whole thing front to back, and I've listened to it on audiobook front to back 3 times. You know what I'm saying? So that's 7 times. I know it fairly well. I know the book of Revelations even more well because I listened to that like 12 different times independently just because I wanted to know. I wanted to have that knowledge in my head. And me having all that having that knowledge base, I'm like, how can you support this and this person? Like he does not represent like the fruits of the spirit that should represent that someone should have. They don't have that. They don't have that. And I'm not trying to like get off onto this deep religious segment, but like real talk, like you need to soul search yourself because they do not have what you speaking they should have. They do not represent Christ at all. They're not even close. I mean, nobody's gonna be perfect, but damn.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like again, the Republican Party and the person who represents the Republican Party currently is Donald Trump. And for them to say that they fall on Christian values and those are their moral values that they have, I just find that laughable because Donald Trump, like the way that he is, the way that he acts. I mean, there really is no explanation that I need to give other than Donald Trump. Just look at how he acts. Look at how he behaves. A 74-year-old man acting like a child, talking about grabbing women by their vaginal areas, And to me, that doesn't scream Christian values. So whenever the Republican Party talk about the Christianity, they vote on their morals and Christian morals and this and that. And I'm like, where? So again, we talk about, I think a lot of that when they talk about pro-life, they say that's a Christian value. And again, I'm not saying I'm not pro-life. I'm saying I'm pro-choice. I shouldn't have an option because I'm a fucking dude. You know what I mean? If it were up to me to decide as a man, again, in my situation, I can't speak for the woman, but I would say that based on my own personal beliefs, that I would hope that the woman in my relationship would keep the baby and I would step up to take care of that child. But if she decided not to, and if any woman decides not to, whatever her reason may be, That is her choice. Why should I have a decision on something that does not have any type of physical, towards me? So that's how I feel towards that. But I also think, I want to add this, because this is kind of going off subject a little bit. I also think that as a man, as the pappy, if you decide to keep that baby, then I should be able to say, bye. That's how I feel.
That's a whole nother conversation. You're right. Yeah.
It's a whole different conversation. Because I'm like, if you think that you should be able to have that right of pro-choice, which is fine, then I think that I should be able to say deuces and not have any type of responsibility to that child. That's what I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So y'all may not agree, but that's okay.
I understand the logic.
No, I understand. I understand that.
I understand the logic with that. It's just one of those things to where it's hard, because then we just start playing from square one. We start there's a lot of dudes who would legally take the out, but then still randomly pop up. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
that's what I'm saying though. Is like, I think there should be, even if we do that. So there needs to be some sort of legal way to say, and I know y'all probably don't agree with me on this, because that's fine. It's okay. We all have different views, but legally speaking, you can't come back to this woman and say, well, I want to be a father to this child. No, you can't do that. But, there has to be a certain point upon the pregnancy, before the baby is born, where you say, I don't want to have any responsibility to this child. Mm-hmm. Say, it's a hard topic to talk about, because
it's definitely hard. That's one of those things, because it's just like, if you could do that, then that's saying that women who give up their child and end up wanting them back don't have the right to go get them. They'll be in foster home. Women still have that right. They can go pull them out of that foster home of those people who adopted them a year and a half later, when they find out, you know what, I really wanted my baby. Mm. They have the right to go contest that now, and then it just fucks up the kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it just leads to a lot of different areas, because it's just, half our young men and women don't know where they come from as far as their father goes in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's just going to lead to more of that. And it's like, I actually agree with the premise of it. Yeah. But the results that I know we would get from it, I couldn't agree with.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole thing is dependent on.
That's why. That's the only reson why.
No, I got you.
It depends on human nature not being human. Like, people are going to, it's going to go negative immediately. It's going to go negative. Like, we can't pretend like humans, we are this bastion of good morals and values. We're not. We wouldn't be having this conversation if we were. We wouldn't be in this situation if we were.
Exactly. And it's like you said earlier, we're not ready for those type of advancements, because people are not ready to take on those responsibilities. If you can't take on the responsibility of showing up for your kid in the first place, you telling me you trying to do a civil war? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a lot that goes with it, man. But
I got another question though.
Look, I'm gonna have to get off this, y'all, so I can't even answer this second question.
Okay.
But peace.
Well, no, I needed you to answer this question, so never mind. It don't even matter now.
What is it? I'll give it one more.
Hey, Miller, we already talked about this for a long time. Okay. Do you believe in student loan forgiveness, especially those governmental loan forgiveness? Do you believe in that?
Yes.
Why?
I don't believe in it for everyone. I believe in it for specific people that are working specific causes that benefit their community. If you are working for a non-for-profit that is doing community projects in a certain amount of time, you therefore gave back to your community and did what you were supposed to with the education that you received to therefore become a, I guess, better citizen, and therefore give back to your community and also help improve it. Those people, I do believe, should get forgivenesses. Now, if you have not did what you were supposed to do with your degree, not saying that, and it's a fickle line. It really is, because just because you have a degree don't mean somebody's gonna give you a shot to give you a chance to do what you're supposed to do with your degree. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I believe in them, but I also don't, to the extent as far as the way it would drag the economy. Like there professors got to get paid some way. Faculty has to get paid some way. Regardless of what people want to say, I understand that it might be overpriced. I do believe you could pay for education on cheaper, but without these things, these certain universities and things that bring all this extra revenue into these towns and smaller towns, Champaign-Urbana would not have survived without the U of I and their student loans. You know, Champaign, that's just an example. U of I brings in millions of dollars in jersey sales. They bring in millions of dollars with sports, millions of dollars with other programs. It just wouldn't survive. Small businesses thrive off the kids. Like, so, but they're making them pay these prices to come, and then they're doing improvements to the community in Champaign and certain things that they are on as far as campus goes. So it's just like, I don't know. You know what? I have to retract my answer. I really don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
I will say, since we last talked, to respond to you, since we last talked, I would say my answer has more so evolved. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say, like, okay, blanket student loan forgiveness. Okay, if you went and got a degree to be in like an artist or whatever, like, the arts are good, but bro, you're gonna have to pay that, my friend. You're gonna have to pay that. Now, if you're a teacher, blanket,
exactly,
you should get that forgiven.
I think you get
blanket. All teachers. No, if you go and you teach, because there is a need for good teachers. That is a need. That is
staple.
You can't.
Okay.
No,
all right, but
listen. Oh, wait. Before
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Before you respond. Now that gets back into this black community issue. That black person that was already in debt takes this job to better the community that does not pay well. It does not. And they're going to put in long hours making sure your child, if they come back to your community, they're making sure your child gets a better chance. You know what I'm saying? Does that not deserve
safety?
Yeah, did that not deserve, after they've worked a time, to be just saying, hey, you good?
Protect your
Look,
kids.
I'm going to reiterate this again. Like I said last time, okay, is when you graduate high school, you have multiple choices. Essentially, you have 4 choices that you can take. You can not go to school, do nothing, work a regular 9-to-5 job, make it that way. You can go off to school and, go off to college, accrue this debt. Again, this is all a decision that you consciously take. Again, when you join the military, man, no one put a gun to your head and said, hey, join the military, but you knew what the benefits were and you knew what the risk was when you joined the military, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing when going to school. You knew what the benefits were and you knew what the risk was. The risk was accruing all this debt with possibility of not having a job after you got your degree. That is the risk. And that's all you, but the benefit is you got your degree. Same thing with the military. So again, I say this again, how do you compensate me for my time? Because had I known that 4 years down the road, you was gonna give out free education and give me back my student debt, why the hell would I join the military? How do you pay me back my time?
But
regardless of what you think is helping in the community, that's besides the point. Because now I will say this, I think there should be a way for free education outside of the military. Yes, I do believe in that. I do believe there should be free university with certain jobs and certain prospects that kind of benefit our community. Yes, but that's not there yet. Currently, the way that it is you sign up for education with the risk that you will accrue debt. That is the risk. Why should I be punished? No, listen, because if you're talking about it's going to help the economy, this is what you said. You said it's going to help the economy by paying back all this student loan debt on the governmental loans and all this stuff. Well, you know what else will help out the economy? My mortgage getting paid for. It's federally backed. Since they want to federally back some student loans, we'll federally back my mortgage. That'll help the economy too.
Okay, so listen. You're talking about this from a very self point of view.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about it from a point of view. No, listen. I'm talking about it from a point of view that's even outside of the military. Think of it like this, from a person that did not go to school because they could not afford college. Think of it like that.
Okay, so listen. I get it. But we're gonna have to big picture this. Like life in the grand scheme of things, it is not fair. Okay, it's just not. Okay, you make your decisions, you make your decisions, and you live with them. But with what you said is you're okay with free education for certain jobs, and we're not there. Okay, we're not there. So as a stopgap for those certain jobs, hey, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go back and we're gonna erase for those certain jobs your debt for those certain jobs. No, cause listen, because that's what you just said. You're okay with free for those certain jobs. So that means the other people you're gonna have to make a way. So if you forgiven it, how is that any different from you making it free initially?
It's a huge. Think of it like this, man.
No, because listen. Free is not free. There's no such thing as free. Period. In this world,
True.
there's no such thing as free. Everything
we get that.
Something. Everything costs something. So that gap in how it's free is going to get made up somehow. So how I'm asking
via tax dollars, we get that, and we understand that. Again, I'm not on the basis of trying to establish a new form of how to pay for college. I'm not on the basis of that. What I am saying is that no, why should I give you your money back for this? This is something that you agreed to. You have to remember, and I'm not talking about it from a self standpoint because you keep saying that. I'm not. Again, I told you what my standpoint was. I joined the military. I joined the military because I knew I couldn't afford college. But I'm talking about those people who went off to school who didn't have any idea on what it was they wanted to be. They went in there with a general knowledge, knowing that, hey, I want to go to school. And halfway through their 2 years at school, they said, you know what? Hell, I'll be a nurse. I'll do a nurse. I'm going to accrue this debt, but hell, I'll be a nurse then. Bucket, right? So again, it's not just self point of view. It's from an American point of view, a citizen's point of view. Why should I give you free education? If I had known, or if anybody had known about this free education, these people that did not go to school, well, then they're basically already at a disadvantage, or they don't receive any type of benefit. Again, you were saying earlier that it's the federally backed loans, which, okay.
So why
go ahead.
If we use your logic, why does military get free education? You knew you were signing up to go defend the country.
But hey, you're right. I did know, but
why do y'all deserve it?
But listen, the benefit to me when I signed my contract was my free education.
Well, why did they give it to you?
Because that was a part. I don't know why they gave it to me. All I know is that
we don't know why we're not getting it.
Yeah.
What? Hold on. Because listen, when you join the military, right?
You get those. It comes with the contract.
It comes with the contract. And do you not risk your life for that contract?
Not necessarily.
I can say there's teachers that go teach out in Inglewood that I know that risk their life every day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
every day. I know a teacher that has lost 6 colleagues in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They went to school that day to teach.
Mm-hmm.
Why shouldn't she get the shit? And then she's dealing with the why. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer in the military. My mom, my dad was a Ranger, my mom was a staff sergeant air medic. I'm a firm believer in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we can't base different American circumstances off of, you know what? Okay, they didn't give it to us. If it wasn't in the contract, it wasn't right.
But again, I want to reiterate. I'm not just talking about the military standpoint.
No, but I'm talking about
the general standpoint as well.
If it's not in the contract, it's not right. We know what we're. It's just like y'all say. Matter of fact, it's just like y'all said earlier with the Black people. We're fighting for basic things. We if that's the case, you know, why are we expecting extra to make up, as you say, earlier. Why are we expecting extra if it wasn't in the contract? We ain't getting the bare minimum.
That's a little bit different. We're talking about
The difference
livelihood
is
on principle
because it's a general thing. We're talking about morals.
Okay,
Morally,
let me put it in perspective like this.
Teachers,
Then. Let me put
people like teachers should get either bigger pay or certain breaks with their stuff. It's just right. There's no reason, and I respect athletes. I was an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason LeBron James made $267,000 for winning the finals game, but then there's a teacher who never made that in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense morally because of the job that they do is so much more immense to affect, so many generations of us coming up. Not saying they don't inspire, just like you being in the military is a big deal because not just for the fact that you made those choices and made the right choices, you're showing as a proud Black American man who supports the movement, who supports Black people, that it's okay if you go into the military, you know what I'm saying, and choose this life because you can come out and be like me and still support the things in our culture. You can still come out and support what's right. You can still be knowledgeable enough to hold yourself and get a free education. You're showing a different way. Teachers have to show a different way every year to a new student.
Let me ask you this question.
And then they have to maintain that throughout every grade.
Okay, let me ask you this question. And again, I think that teachers should be paid more. They should be paid way more than what they're getting currently. But let me ask you this. I bought a home. I'm $200,000 in debt. Should you pay for my house?
That's totally different.
No, it's not. It's the exact same thing. I made a choice to buy a home, just like you made a choice to go to school. Bro. I made a choice. Everything, you all made a choice. No, okay.
So listen.
At age 18.
Look, listen.
We believe age 18 people.
You're talking about a personal need versus a societal need.
That's what I'm talking about. A societal need.
No. Listen. Wait. Just let me finish.
I'm letting you finish. Go ahead.
So look, a societal need is we need teachers. We need doctors. Facts. That is a hard fact. It's gonna remain forever. We're going to need scientists. That is a hard fact. We're going to need them forever. Those three things, in any civilization, you go look back. All those three things exist all the time. A military always exists all the time. It's a societal need. A police force or some type of security force or whatever enforcement exists in some capacity. It's a need. When society gets too big, you're going to need these things. It's a hard fact. A house, a mortgage, you do not need an actual house. You could just rent an apartment. Now, is that something that you want to do? No, but you could do. You could do. It's a personal need. You having a house does not have a societal a great enough. It's not the same level as a.
Pause.
This argument is more so not what is needed, but you want the respect of an adult and you made an adult choice. Why should you be forgiven for your own personal choice, right?
Essentially,
it's your choice. You could have chose one of four paths. You chose this path. That's what you go down.
You understood the risk of this path and you chose this path. But I want to go back to what Smooth said, because you were saying there's an educational need, like there's no need for a home or a mortgage or anything like that, which, I can agree that necessarily I could go do an apartment search. Okay, are you going to give me free money for my apartment for 2 years?
But here's the thing though.
Because I need a place to live.
You don't have to have a mortgage, okay? You could.
I don't have to have an apartment.
No. You have three options. You have three options. You can build your own. You can build your own crib. You know what I'm saying, and save up the money and finance it yourself. You could have done that. You could have paid for that said crib that you're in right now, all cash, so you don't have that mortgage to continue to pay on. You know what I'm saying? It's the same.
Again, but
It's the same. It's the
but
same thing.
essentially, no. But listen.
No,
Because
no, no.
I want to go
Let me
with you on
finish
that.
because I'm finna. This, let me
Okay.
bring it together real quick. So
All right.
listen, just the same way with a person with an education though, which it goes. They could have paid for it. However, we have a society where you have people, you have haves and have-nots. So you have programs to bring them up to par to give them some equity, which goes back to earlier, to give them some equity, to give them something to put them on a level playing field. If you do not support those things, which student loan forgiveness in some capacities would support that notion where, okay, you came from this circumstance, you know what I'm saying? We're going to give you a chance. We're going to give this generation a chance to go forward. These types of programs where they handed out money for free existed all throughout America, but guess who didn't get them? Black people never got them, ever. White people got them. They were handing them land. They were like, go settle here. You know what I'm saying? With the westward expansion, they just handed them land. They handed them a plot. You can go look it up. It exists. Then when you have the redlining or whatever, where they gave them these suburbs so where they could exist or whatever, they got next to no interest on some of them loans, if not the whole crib paid for on a grant. And all they had to do was whatever they had to do. I don't remember exactly offhand, but the government's been handing out money forever, and it did not benefit everybody.
I have to say, I get both sides. I get what he's saying as far as making your own choice. Why should you have to? I actually get it. I get what you're saying. But then, that just unpacked in so many different ways, because it's just like, if that's the case, there are, do we honestly believe 18-year-olds, some of us do, that there are some 18-year-olds that know what they want? An 18-year-old honestly knows how to make the choice for the rest of his life or her life. I don't personally believe that. Now, did some of us turn out okay based on our decision? Yeah, we did. We did okay. We did okay. We learned it on the way. And we just so happened to do what we were supposed to do, and it worked out for us. Things happen, man. There are things that happen in the middle time, and I get what people living with their decisions, but that goes back to what you said about a baby. I made the choice to sleep with this girl unprotected. Why should you get to walk away from that regardless of what she does? If you wasn't there in the first place, it would have never happened.
True.
So you can't walk away. It's there. It's just like, there are decisions that we all make that we will always have to live with. And I get that part. But there are certain things that if we're going to apply the rule to one thing, we got to apply it to everything. Oh, you shouldn't get student loan forgiveness because you made that choice. You made a choice to sleep with that woman. Deal with the consequences. You made a choice to, leave that baby. Deal with the consequences. There is no getting that baby back. You're out of that baby's life.
Yeah. But again, that kind of goes
harm back. Also, if we're involving the legal formalities to it. You telling me I can't go ever see my mom because of legal formalities? What if I get older? Why, if they chose to be done with me and there's legal formalities that prevent them from coming back, there has to be legal formalities to prevent me from finding them. It has to go so many ways. There's so many bad things that can come from that. Just being black and white. You have to have gray.
Well, going back to that subject real quick, and then I reverted back to the initial subject that we're talking about, is in regards to like age 18. I mean, you're talking about you turn 18, you're an adult, you can do whatever you want to do. At age 18, literally, your freedom is pretty much guaranteed. So, I mean, in regards to that way that you're talking about, well, you can't never go back and talk to your mom, your dad, or whoever it may be. No, I'm not saying that. What I was saying in regards to that is that if we're giving women the right to choose, then we have to have that same level playing field across the board for men. And that's the same thing that I'm talking about when it comes to the federal student loan forgiveness, is if we want to have that same playing field, we need to have it across the board then.
Sometimes what's fair is not right.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm coming from with it.
Mm-hmm.
There was this really just goofy meme. You have a guy that's 6 foot, you got a guy that's 5 foot. You got a fence that's 7 feet. If I give them both a 1 foot box, that's fair. But only the 6 feet guy is gonna be able to see over that fence.
Okay.
It's just like black and white schooling. I can give black people the same books as white people. But if I'm not giving you the same teaching
programs,
like I can give you what's fair, but it does not mean it's right.
Listen,
I give you books. I gave you 10 books over here. I gave you 10 books over here. These books just so happen to include more information. I gave those to the white school, these books, but you know what? I gave you 10 books. Being fair is not always the best decision. And that's where shit gets fucked up.
Well, hold on. I disagree with that. I mean,
fair
I disagree with that. We're being fair. I think fair is literally what we're asking for in society currently. I mean, we're talking about equality, right? In America of 2020, right? Equality. We're just asking to be treated fairly across the board. So to say that it's not necessarily right, then I disagree with that.
Okay,
mainly
but that's correct.
Again, I just want to say this, and I don't mean to cut you off. Pardon me.
No, but that's you're correct. But once again, earlier it was when I said that, everybody came back. You, all three of you said, "Well, you know, we need extra." That ain't fair. Even though reparations ain't fair then.
Whoa, what? No, hold on.
If we want to be treated equal now,
you have to remember.
Now. Why am I getting something my ancestors paid for? I didn't get whipped.
True, but let me put it in perspective.
Why do I get their blood?
Listen, because there were Native American tribes and families that received reparations for their ancestors. There were Italian people
who fair
reparations for their ancestors.
There are some white. Okay.
There have been white people that don't the same. Indians. There have been Irish people that.
So we get our reparations, right?
Yeah. So fair. I mean, in regards to that manner, if we're talking about fair, you can't do for one group and not do for the other group.
You can't do everything for every group the same because all of us are not the same. We all have different cultural wants and needs. If you treat everybody the same, it's fair. But it's gonna benefit certain people, depending on the specific thing, it's gonna benefit more people of certain cultures better than others. Like I mean, I don't really know another way to say it. It's dietary wise. We feed in America, it's easy to feed all of America if we give them all the same shit, bread, milk, and whatever. But certain people's, I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but there are certain things that certain cultures need in their diet and their biologies that does not process well outside of because they have established those things. That's genetic. The problems are always going to be way deeper than it needs to be. I just feel like what's fair is not right in all situations. Things like reparations, don't get me wrong, I agree with reparations. I got you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like there are so many things that we can give, but it's not going to be fair because it's just not going to be fair. Well, we're behind. It's like he said earlier, we're behind.
I want to add this to it because when I was talking about the military in regards to student loan forgiveness, and I was saying, again, how do I get my time back? Again, that's 6 years of my life I'll never get back. But you have to also remember some of the situations and some of the things that a lot of veterans get when they're deployed. You have PTSD, injuries. Again, this is a lifetime worth of injuries. Yes, I may get disability or something like that, but you're talking about disabled veterans living out on the street. So to me, how do I get my time back? How do I get my PTSD taken care of? How do I get, and we're talking about not disability, because disability is $1,000 a month. Whoop-de-damn-do. I get a $2,000 a month max.
What about,
right?
Right.
But let's talk about the injuries that I have sustained with my time in the military. Will I ever receive any of that back? No. So why should you? Now again, what I'm not saying is that we should not have a path for free education outside of the military. That's not what I'm saying. I think that we need to develop into this path and start developing a path for that. But again, there is so much more. And again, I'm just speaking mainly right now from the military standpoint when it comes to time, injuries, and such like that. Again, fair, and from what you were saying before is that you don't believe that fair is correct, and you believe that, why should we receive reparations?
Not in all situations, no.
Yeah, and again, I want to say, well, white people have been achieving more than Black people have anyway. So it's already unfair as it is. So now we're just getting our reparations to put us back on par with white people. So that's how I feel in regards to that. Again, it's across the board. If we're saying that we're giving women the right to choose, then we need to give men the right to choose for a certain thing that affects us.
So let's say just a random made up situation. You have a suburb, Black family, lived well, it's been passed down. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're rich. But let's just say their ancestors, there's record that their ancestors, and then you have this inner city family, right? Not rich. But on record, they have more proof that their ancestors were put through more than this inner city's Black family. Fair would be to give that new family more reparations than that inner city Black family, based on what reparations represents, because it does go by year, it does go by certain things you can prove. Like everybody should get it based on lineage, but I wouldn't give $5,000 to the inner city family and then $5,000 to the other family. That's not fair.
Okay.
That's fair, but that's not right.
I think I disagree, because we're giving everyone an equal amount of pay. I mean, think about it.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
But listen, we can use that same example for the $1,200 that we received for our stimulus package.
Everybody shouldn't have got $1,200.
You said what?
Everybody. If you made over 50 grand, honestly, you should not have got $1,200.
But see, if you made over that, you got your $1,200.
You still got it.
You were making $34,000, you got your $1,200.
So regardless, but it's fair, right? It's fair.
I'm not saying it was completely fair. What I am saying is that it was even across the board. You said what?
It could have been so much more if it went somewhere else.
Exactly. I agree with that. It definitely could have been used for something so much better to benefit our community, yada this and yada that. And I should have got more than that, $1,200. I mean, there's different countries giving so much more. But besides that point, what I'm trying to say is that in regards to, we're saying $1,200 to a $34,000 salary wage person compared to a $60,000 wage person. They both receive $1,200. Again, your struggle isn't necessarily bigger than my struggle just because you make more money. Like, you may still have a job.
Does make a difference.
You're right, it does. But I just want to say
what I've saved in my time, or what I've put aside, or to what you didn't have the opportunity to, because you got to pay for school. Like, if we both have two kids and we in the inner city, I make $34,000, and you got two kids too. I'm not saying your kids are less important, but if I could do it on 34 in America, you can do it on 34 in America.
Mm-hmm.
You got 30 put up, or whatever. You got 15 put up. I don't got nothing put up. I'm living bone. I'm living bone deep.
Yeah.
Why didn't you get 600 and I get 1,800? Might have been a little more fair.
I don't want to go, because I feel like we're just totally.
I think it's a big loop. All I'm really saying is, just because it's equal does not make it fair. Fair is putting people on an even playing field, not saying 8 and 10, and then I give everybody 2, because you know what that means? I'm still 2 up. It doesn't even us out any.
Okay.
That's all I was saying, like that.
No, I got you. I got you. But I also want to say this, and I'll be done with it because it's 11:16. I need to go to bed. But I just want to say this is that if we're giving student loan forgiveness to the student loans that are government backed, right? Then why can't we do that with certain other loans as well? Then? I mean, again, one of the arguments was that it will help the economy. Well,
I think it comes with the contract. That's why I say I don't all the way agree with it, but I do agree with it. You said there should be a pathway for during school, that you can go to for free education.
Mm-hmm. Outside the military, yep.
I don't believe that because you can get through the free education and then never use it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather it go to a person who has proven track record of using said education. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was not going to be immediate. You got to give me 3, 4. You got to give me 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? I got to have a record of 4 or 5 years that you was teaching, and then we can talk about forgiving your loans.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just get this. Can't get it for free.
Yeah.
That's all I was saying. But
no,
it would
I got
be
you.
fair to balance them out because they're doing so much more for the community.
Yeah. So
if you go to be whatever that's just trying to make money, no, come on, bro, you got to pay that back.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, there's people in the military that do that just to make money, and then again,
just to make money. But
yeah,
I mean,
so
requires
basically what I'm saying, this in summary, is that it's a double-edged sword. So if you want to give them, someone's not going to be happy.
No situation,
everybody's going to be happy. But I think in the situation where they're talking about free education for those government-backed loans, I think it can kind of be seen as, to me, from my standpoint, from my point of view, I'm just talking about my opinion, as a slap in the face to certain people who have accrued certain injuries, debt, whatever it may be. If we don't qualify for that position, I mean, if you think about it, like when I first went off to school, I wanted to be a pilot, right? And now there's a program in the private sector where they need pilots in the private sector. Right. So certain companies are willing to pay for your education, right? But again, we're talking about the private sector. We're not talking about the public. We're talking about, said airline wants to pay for your education to become a pilot. But if we're using my tax dollars, then I think that this should be used towards it for government-backed loans. Well, I just don't agree with it. And again, we're talking about, the pot.
Yeah, it's just the politics around it.
It's just too much. I'm sorry.
There's a dude who plays the tuba who got that same free education that you got. I don't believe he deserved it. I'm sorry. What do you? I don't believe he deserved it. Why not give that to a teacher? That's just my. It could even go to athletes, even though I'm a product of it. Like I was beneficial by it. I didn't risk as much as you risked.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when it came to school, I probably had to do less than you had to do because teachers love basketball.
Hey, you being honest, man.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just. I just think there are exceptions, and I get it. I get sports people because they make so much more money through funding, but then you have all these other little small things that get it. Grade point averages. We want good students. Everybody wants good students.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna give these students, things to stay in school. I get it, but it's so I don't know. I just agree with you. I agree and I don't agree. But it's just one of those things that's going to be through perspective of how you think. It's neither one of them. I think both of them are right, which is the hard part.
Yeah. Hey, Miller, I'm not saying you was wrong or anything. What I'm saying is that from my perspective, this is how I see it. Yeah. And I didn't want you to, even on the last video, when we did that last video, I didn't want you to think, because, we weren't arguing or nothing by any means. We was just having a normal conversation. But I just didn't want you to think that I was being, argumentative in regards to, I'm right, you're wrong. What you say doesn't make any sense. And again, like I was saying, I'm looking out for the veterans and the people that didn't have a choice, because I was on that verge of not having a choice. And so had I known back then what I know now, that they were going to give, student loan forgiveness, it would have changed my life greatly. I would have went to school and did this or did that, so that's just what I think. Again, my opinion, that's how I feel. I don't speak for anybody else, just me, myself, and I. So.
Yeah. Sorry, I've been munching down on this food like this, but man, I was up. But I guess to add on to y'all points, and then we can get up off of here. I think the main takeaway is finding the proper way to distribute everything. It's clearly the road that we need to be on to find the path of equity. Because equality being that fair is not going to work when someone's been taking advantage of the system the entire time. You can't then just stop everything and then be fair. No, you have to provide equity and get people back on the same playing field and then make the game fair going forward. You can't come to the team that was playing, we can keep with the basketball example. You know what I'm saying? You got a team of 5 and then you have another team of 3 people. So it's 5-on-3. That's not fair. You know what I'm saying? You got to get that other team 2 more players and then start the game over from scratch. You can't then continue the same game with 2 more people added because they're probably down 100.
I see that point, but I just want to say, I mean, we can't restart life, man. We can't go back in time.
Restart life.
No.
Yeah. So
I'm not saying.
No, I got what you're saying. I just wanted to say, like, I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said in regards to, like, we have to start and then going forward, we have to go forward. That's why I was saying, I think that there should be a path to free education and where school is paid for. I think there should be. And again, it's not free education. It's free education for me via my tax dollars, but I think there should be a path in regards to that way. So that way I'm not pocketing 100% of the tuition assistance. But I have more ideas in regards to that, where I think that there should be a certain, like, certain jobs within the government. I mean, if you think about, again, like what Mr. Adrian was saying, he was saying certain jobs, they don't really care. They don't care what degree you got. They just care that you have the degree. So, if I look back at, being a pilot for an airline, they don't care what degree it is. They don't care. As long as you have the hours to be a pilot, which you can get that in the public sector. Go fly planes in the public sector. They don't care what degree you got. You can get a degree in literature, a degree in liberal arts, or whatever it may be. As long as you have a 4-year bachelor's degree, that's all they care about. But, again, do that to where it helps me out, the government, the taxpayer, whatever. And then go on about your business, do your thing. But I just don't agree with student loan forgiveness right now. Maybe there's something that can fully change my mind, but I just haven't.
Right. Yeah. And that's perfectly fine, man.
All right, but I'm about to go though.
Yeah, I gotta